everyone, and good evening. My name is Rose Lloyd, and I'm currently a student with WGU, Western Governors University, and I am, working on getting my bachelor's in interdisciplinary studies, grades K through 8. Where I am in my studies, this is my third term, and I'm really looking forward to being in the classroom, like some of you might already be in a classroom, and those of you who are in my same shoes, looking to be that good teacher. Today I would like to tell you, I've done a lot of research, asked some questions to some children and some adults, and I've narrowed it down to 8 traits through these different surveys that kind of tell me what makes a great teacher, what makes a good teacher. There are 8 traits, and as you guys walked in, you guys picked up the brochure, Traits of a Good Teacher. Inside you will find the traits listed. I feel that this will be information that you can use on your journey as a teacher. Let's start with a good sense of humor. Everybody's got to have a good sense of humor. One quick little story. There was a teacher, a kid came in, always making, being loud, being disruptive. The teacher always sent him out to the principal's office. Well, this time, the teacher was turned around, had his back to the teachers, and boom, got hit with a paper airplane. The teacher looked at that student and he says, I have a project for you. He says, you have until Friday, gave him 4 days, to complete an essay on aerodynamics. He had to, wrote it all out, required him to the point exactly what he wanted this student to do. And then he had to do an oral presentation on it. So when he came back at the end of that week, he was so excited. He completed the project and turned it into the teacher because it was preventing him from getting suspended. It was either do this or you're getting suspended. So he did this. He did his presentation to the class, and the whole time the teacher was in the back, just looking everywhere else and, not really paying attention. And then the teacher or the student came up to the teacher and says, how did I do? How do you think I did? And the teacher was like, oh, it was okay, I guess. And the student's like, well, I worked so hard on it, and, you weren't even paying attention. And all that the teacher had to say is, exactly, now you know how I feel. And, that teacher and that student had such a bond after that there was no more problems. So he turned, what was supposed to be humiliation on the teacher into humiliation on the student, and both of them learned together how to work through the class. That student really, really thrived for the rest of the term in that class. You also need to definitely make sure that if you're going to be a teacher, you need to be a good learner. You're always wanting to show the students that you're constantly learning new subject skills, and you also got to know how to set high standards. Set high standards to help your student learn how to take risks and accept the errors. Don't only teach curriculum, but also good work habits as well. And rules. When it comes to rules, set appropriate rules. Make sure that you keep your class in control and order, and be organized. When you're organized, you're showing students, how to prepare for their future. You got to be flexible. Use your experience and your resources, personal experiences, towards them to help integrate into the core curriculums. Be willing to put your own money forward. We all know that school districts don't always have the money to support each and every individual teacher and what they're wanting to do to get the curriculum across to the students. So a little extra money always helps. And be open, open their minds. Be creative with the students too. You got to be flexible. Use your own experiences and resources. Also showcase the student. Show what they have done. Be proud and praise them. You can put their work up on the wall, and they'll know, and other students can look by and say, oh wow, look at his paper, that's what an A looks like, or oh wow, everybody's doing great. Some teachers don't like to do that. You got to know how your students learn. If you know how they learn, some are visual, some are audio, And, hands-on or even physical is great in the classroom, especially science and math. You can give them some Cheerios to show the lower grades how to do subtraction. You can give them 10 Cheerios and tell them, now eat 3 of them. How many do you have left? You've just now shown them a subtraction problem. You really need to take all of this into account. These traits, like I have described, really play a part in day-to-day rules, and it helps create the foundation for students to build their education. If you can help give them all of these strengths, it's, like it is, it's just that, it's strengths. If you guys would like to take a minute and fill out a card, put your questions on it. It is, it's kind of going to be hard to hear you guys. So if you can just write your questions down. I pass some cards out to everybody. Feel free, I'll give you guys a few seconds, and then you can pass your questions in to me. Once again, there's the 8 traits. You got to be a good learner, set high standards, differentiate as needed, have a good sense of humor, rules, be flexible, and showcase your students, know how they learn. Okay, I've got a few of these cards that have come back up. First question is, what good work habits do you feel you could teach students? Well, as a teacher, you always should know that, the students eventually will be looking in a mirror. So what you teach them is going to be really good for their learning skills. So if you always come in every day, you're organized, you know what your lesson's going to be, you've got all your, your components, your printouts done, you know what you're going to put on your overhead projector or what you're going to talk about, the day is going to flow much easier, and the students are going to start realizing that if you're always prepared, your day is going to go good. It's really important for good habits because it's going to display and come back to, what they think a day is. So if you're constantly absent, or if you're always sick and you never show up to work as a teacher especially, these students are going to start feeling that, hey, we don't have to be here every day. She's not here every day. And it really disrupts the child's learning, just like for any job that you are going to get in your future. It's going to disrupt someone's learning. The next question is do you think there's a need for more parents and teacher communication? I really didn't cover this, but parent-teacher communication is very important. If you don't communicate with the parent to let the parent know, hey, your child's doing great, or on the other hand, hey, you know what, I'm not getting the homework turned in, they're outside your doors. They don't know what's going on in your classroom. So, my answer to that is yes. There really needs to be more parent-teacher communication out there for all aspects to help teach, that even when you're on a job, that if, you're not performing, there's going to be consequences to it. And that will help your parents and your students and you as a teacher be more into the same group and understand what's going on in that situation. So, once again, with this pamphlet, it's definitely some information to take and live and learn, and you got to be able to, follow all of these traits, and they can be seen in a classroom where the student scores and their grades and stuff are really elevated. If you come across a teacher and all their kids have lower, kind of mediocre grades, it could be the teacher's form of teaching. So definitely do some research before you put your student into another classroom, and do some wonderful research before you become that teacher, that foundation for every child's learning, and put yourself in their shoes and look through their eyes as what they would want. And you, even now as a student, what do you like to see when you walk into a classroom? And that's going to make you the best teacher that you can be. So these traits, once again, I hope you take them into your future journey as a teacher. You guys have a good night. Thank you.